I know I do this thing that you consider to be quite annoying. You have what you consider to be a simple question or a point that you want to make. And the next thing you know, I go back to what seems like I'm stretching it. And then next thing you know, I go even farther back, something that seems totally unrelated. And start blabbering about that. And you're like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about this thing here. I am the time weaver. I can see the connections that exist and that point. That point is the culmination of all the other points. If you go back to the beginning of where they started to culminate, they started to grow, and you address it there, then everything afterwards melts away and comes into perspective. What is it that you are feeling uncomfortable about? I want you to get quiet for a second. And I want you to see that. Look at your soul when it's happening. Don't look at the actions. Look at what your soul, how it's feeling and moving. Why was that? You have learned to be the survival of the fittest. That is a survival of the fittest process. As long as you get what you want, then others are not of importance or value to you. Maybe it's an afterthought or a second or third thought, but there is a value system whereby take care of yourself first, then take care of those closest to you, and you continually put down different levels. That is the survival of the fittest model, the hierarchical model, in which always leads to extinction. It can lead to nothing else except for extinction. It is very prevalent throughout your society, not just in you personally, but throughout your society. Take care of yourself first. Take care of those closest to you. Take care of those in your home, in your family, extended family. Take care of your kind, whatever your kind is defined as. And it slowly expands out to a certain point where it's this community comes first, and then we can help anyone else. Understanding this is important, because this is the pattern that you sometimes still believe is necessary. You still believe that because the society which you exist in is this way, that if you do not do this behavior, you will end up with nothing or less than. So you're like, I have to do it some in order to be okay. If I don't do this, I will not be okay. Now, this is not the same as saying I have to give up that which I want for others. That is the false narrative of the survival of the fittest. That you have those that you either have to take it all or relinquish it all. That is also not accurate, because it's just a distortion of the survival of the fittest. It is still survival of the fittest. You have not completely released those belief systems, because you are afraid to do so. You are very afraid that if you release those survival of the fittest belief systems and hierarchical systems, that you are going to end up in a very bad place. So you feel you can't truly get rid of them, and the word you use is yet. If things get better, then I can. And there is a little bit of experiential truth to that. I'm using the word experiential because in the
What does that mean?
that in the experience of being in the darkest of the dark, that is how things play out. But the darkest of the dark is dissipating and disappearing. If you hold on to that which is of the darkest of the dark, then as it disappears, you will disappear with it. If while you were in the darkest of the darkest, and that was all that was available, that's what you did, it is not that you have to, I know it's not true, I'm saying this, it is not, you have this idea of, I will be condemned for having done this. You are caught up in this trap. You are not, it is not that it is held against you that you got caught in this trap. You are caught in this trap. We are now getting you out of the trap. As we are getting you out of this trap, it becomes, will you leave? Or will you just keep returning to the trap? You are feeling what you are feeling because it is now time to begin to release yourself from this trap. We are in the process of releasing you from the trap. And it's time for you to move away from the trap. And that feels very vulnerable to you. This is why these feelings are coming up, because you are still holding on to some of the hierarchy. We have suggested to you that it is beneficial for you to remove yourself from watching, and we're trying to find the words. We do not know the words exactly. That which thing, we're going to, guess we'll have to find an explanation. She is doing a lot right now, and in that there is less access to be able to find words as easily. That which, tribalism, yes, there it is. You would want to remove yourself from things that encourage tribalism, us against them, my tribe here, your tribe there. That tribe is bad, this tribe is dangerous. Instead, that is why we suggested that you moved away from watching the news. Be aware of things that encourage tribalism. Because tribalism is a extension of hierarchy. Explore your environment and have fun, but build from your environment that of the connectedness that you are experiencing and the freedom with which you are experiencing that exists in that which is realigned to divinity. You can talk with and work with Raphael, Uriel. You can talk with and work with God. You can talk with and work with your friends who are doing creative and loving and caring things and projects. But do not look at it as us, me against this person, us against them. There are a them that is trying to cause harm. Yes, we are aware of that, and that is being taken care of. But it is beneficial for you to move into the connectiveness with all that is in line with divinity. Do you understand the point we are trying to make? Because we are not sure that we are making this very clearly. Creative, enlightening, you will feel an upliftingness, excitement, joy, and expansiveness when you are feeling that. Delve into that. When you are feeling the desire to demean, or you are being demeaned, then move away from that. Remember, emotions are signals to get your attention. If you quiet down an emotion that's trying to get your attention, to draw us to something, and you try to quiet that one down, it will pop up somewhere else stronger and more chaotic. So it's best to listen to the natural flow of the emotions. You have made choices in line with hierarchy and wanting to come out on top and better than. As long as that inclination is still present, you will have those emotions signaling to you that you're not in line with divine movement. This is not the same thing as talking about your own personal divinity. This is a slight variation. This is that how you move within the divinity of the macro divinity, as it's moving, the grand mandala. The soul is like a beautiful, colorful mandala, but then all the souls and all creation moving together creates another colorful mandala. And there is still some strings attaching you to the hierarchy. And these emotions and memories that are coming up are helping to call your attention to this so that you can be able to move beyond and release them and recognize them for what they are. You have to recognize them for what they are, because if you twist what they are, then that will be a distortion. See it for truly and clearly what it is. Do not try to ish it around. Say, ugh, yes, I did this because I wanted to have something that someone else did not have. I wanted to get to have an experience that someone else didn't, because I wanted to feel better. Not I wanted to be my individual self and express who I was clearly, but I wanted to be better than. And whenever you feel that sensation of, I want to be better than, you will have those emotional twinges calling that back to mind of, ooh, this is a dangerous path. Because you could ask Uriel and he will tell you very clearly. He is, and yes, he's already expressed tonight, we're each created unique and different. And we can be the best us that we could possibly be and express ourselves in many and varied ways the best that we can. But you cannot compare, in the sense of better than, one to the other. For Uriel is the best Uriel that Uriel could be, and he loves being Uriel. And Raphael is the best Raphael that Raphael can be, and he loves being Raphael. But neither Raphael nor Uriel want to be a weaver. And they are not going to try to compare themselves as to say, maybe I should try to become a weaver, because that's not who they are. So this better than thing that you have in this concept that exists in hierarchy is not beneficial, because it pushes people, and I'll use people loosely, the word term people loosely. It pushes people into doing things that are not who they are. And so therefore, when they do it, they feel that sense of it's lacking because it's not them. If you take a child who is not drawn to and does not like physical games and play, so say they are not a jock, they do not like running, they do not like exercising, they do not enjoy it, but instead they like to draw and paint. That is who they are. Now they do not mind going out for a walk in the woods and getting inspiration, but they don't like competitions and games, and that is not their thing. They do not like a strong physical exertion. They like walking and smelling the roses. If you push that child and say you're not good enough at being who you are, you have to learn to play team sports, then that child will have a sense of I'm not good enough, because they are being pushed into something that is not them. And so they will feel the lack, and they will feel the angry, and they will feel the anxiety. And then they are told that the only way to get rid of that is to excel in this thing that is not them. And The same way, if you were to take someone who loves physical activity, who loves, like you have been watching on television, bobsledding very fast. They just love it. They feel they think about it all the time. They enjoy it thoroughly. There's nothing to them better than this strong physical activity and movement and the air and you say, okay, I want you to sit down and read this 500-page book describing the history of the Incas. They're going to be like, ah! And if you don't do it, you're not good enough. And then they will feel that they are lacking in that area. This is ridiculous. And this falsely being created. Each of you are, in of yourselves, fully, completely grand and amazing. You are not lacking unless you're trying to do something of that which you are not. And you should not try to be what you are not, because you will only feel lack and they will only send you down the path of distortions. It does not mean that at the same time that if someone likes to read new art, they should never do any physical movement at all. If you have a physical body, then you probably should do some. But don't feel that you are lacking because you may say, I just like to take a leisurely walk to here and there. I don't want to have to. I never want to run. If you never want to run, then you don't have to run. You can just walk or whatever. It is only the sense of lack that comes when you're doing that which you shouldn't, is not you. Now, in the extreme distorted environment in which you have existed and for have many lives of, you have become very, very, very disconnected from your true self and your true path. And so therefore, you may have some difficulty in finding it. You have made, in many cases, that which is your true inclination and beauty. You may have been dissuaded from that the most. So when you go to move towards it, it may at first feel uncomfortable because you may have been given guilt trips. You may have been not allowed to express yourself in that way, and so it does not feel comfortable yet. So this is a point we're going to get into that is going to be a bit messy, but it's going to be messy like toddler messy. And why I say this, when toddlers do things, even if it's something they really enjoy, they tend to make a mess and they try all kinds of different things. So there's going to be a trying of lots of different things until you click more and more and can reconnect more and more with who you really are. As you connect more and more to who you really are, you will not feel lack. As long as you continue to be who you are and express who you are, and you do not try to do something that is, or force yourself to do something that is not you. Now, once again, I'm adding little points on because you are so much there onto definitions and parameters. Someone can still be inspired by someone, but this is not the same of lack. So, say there is someone that does beautiful, brightly colored paintings of flowers, and you see this brightly colored, beautiful painting of a flower, and you will say, oh, I wish I could do that. That is what you say. But you're inspired of it. But when you go home and you try to do that, it doesn't come out looking like that at all. Then say, okay, take a step back, take a breath. Okay, this painting inspires me. How can I take the inspiration and the feeling that I get off of this painting and express it the way I express? It could be a dance. It could be a song. It could be a food. It could be the way you put together a room, as far as with curtains and blankets and colors. You see, You do not have to mimic someone else's thing to be inspired by it. And you are not lacking because you do not do something exactly like someone else. We know that it is going off on lots of different tangents, but the reason is because we are the weavers, and we see the interconnectedness of many things that maybe those who think, especially those who are living linearly, have difficulty in recognizing all the connections therein. And so you may feel a sense of jealousy or envy towards some elements that is, you feel a sense of lack towards. Realize there's no lacking in you as far as that goes. That is her thing. If you find it beautiful or amazing, then see how can that inspire you in what you do. Do not try to copy it, but be inspired by knowing your own paths and your own ways of expressing life. This dealing with those feelings of lack and jealousy and wanting to be better, that has to be healed before these memories are healed. Uriel, is there anything else that you wish to add to this?
You did a really good job.
Okay, well thank you, because we're not sure if it is coming off clear.
Oh, it's very clear.
Okay, because we see things so webby.
Yes, it is a very webby way of talking and thinking, but that's the way it needs to be.
Yes.
That's the way it is.
I know that's the way it is, but we do not want to...
They can only see a little piece of it.
We don't want to add to confusion, but we just really didn't think that there was any... If we just gave just this part, then all this rest would be messing up.
Unresolved.
Yes.